Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another BOOTHILL module review. This time we've got BH4 Burn Bush Wells by Jeff Grubb, with assistance by Alan Hammack and Brian BLUME. And Brian BLUME you may remember from the very first BOOTHILL project. This one is set in the town of Burn Bush Wells, in El Dorado County, not too far from Promise City, so you can, have the makings of a relatively interesting campaign. This one is set in the dead of winter in a little town called Burn Bush Wells, where at some point or another, after trying to make a living hunting wolves for their pelts and things like that, the players will be embroiled in a little bit of a power struggle in the town. The bad guy being a Mr. Lyle Underhay, who's trying to basically buy up the entire town. It's not even that big a town in comparison to Promise City, but he's doing his best. He's got his fingers in all the pots, doing the things, and the players will at one point try to struggle over a general store that is up for grabs, so to speak, and if the players play their cards right, they'll walk away with a tidy sum and potential stock interest in the general store that will generate them money for years and years to come. All in all, I really like this one. It's really well written. The art is nice. The story is a little pedestrian for my likes. I was hoping for something a little bit more glorious. It would make a great Western were it, put on film. But there were a couple of things that stood out. The bad guy, Mr. Lyle Underhay, is actually working for somebody else, I believe a mysterious Mr. G, who is only mentioned once, and I'm like, what's up with that? There is a little bit of a Romeo and Juliet love story going on that the players can help foster and help it bloom, that sort of thing. A nice little touch, and like I said, it all accumulates in a gunfight trying to get the deed for the general store in another burnt out town not too far away, I think the name of Gordon, which makes for definitely an interesting showdown. It's not really the last part of the adventure. There is a final showdown where the bad guy tries to blow up the general store. It's like, if I can't have it, nobody can. Sends a posse of eight ne'er-do-wells and some dynamite, and if the players are quick, deadly, and play their cards right, you'll have yourself a nice little end scene, as it were. All in all, though, I'm only giving this an 8. I was hoping this was going to be my favorite of the modules so far, but at this point, it's going to the 10 is going, or at least my favorite is going to the Lost Conquistador Mine. But this one's definitely a lot of fun, definitely a lot of danger, a lot of wilderness encounters, a lot of gunplay, a lot more than some of the other adventures, definitely more than Ballots and Bullets. But not a bad way to get your players started with BOOTHILL, if that's your aim. If you're going to play this game in campaign form, definitely bring this one in around episode 2 or 3 or module 3 instead of 4. Leave out Ballots and Bullets completely, unless you want to maybe leave that one for the last campaign module you run before you go off and start making stuff up on your own, unless you want to do that ahead of time, which I highly recommend. BOOTHILL's got so much to offer. This one being a perfect example. I'm a huge fan of the movie The Great Silence, so the idea of having shootouts in the snow and that sort of thing, and braving the elements, and having to deal with wild animals and things like that. There's even a really nice encounter with a black stallion named Widowmaker that there's a chance the players could walk away or ride away with a very prized horse, which is actually a thing in the game. Better horses make for better odds in your survival, and should you happen to break Widowmaker and make it your own, that's a nice piece of or a nice feather in your cap, so to speak, although that would look kind of funny in a cowboy hat, unless you live in California, and then that's kind of the norm. But either way, I really enjoyed this one a lot. Not as much as I wanted to, not as much as I'd hoped for, but you know what? In the end, I definitely play through this, maybe even run it someday, but to be honest, you guys know me, I prefer to run my own stuff. But this one, coupled with the supernatural element of the Lost Conquistador Mines, I could see turning Widowmaker into something of a magical, nightmarish kind of adversary until you break it, and there's definitely room for a little bit of supernatural in here if you wanted to throw that in, or if you want to run it rules as written, so to speak. Not a bad one. But I've got one more left to read, Range War BH5. I'll be reading that over the weekend. I'll have that to you hopefully bright and early Monday. But until then, folks, have yourselves a great weekend. I got a game tonight, another one Sunday. I hope you guys will get in as much gaming as you can before the weather turns blazing hot and everybody's going to want to be outside instead of stinking up a basement playing some role-playing games. So go out there, enjoy the weather, enjoy some role-playing games, painting, miniatures, crafting, whatever it is your jam. Let me know what you thought of this one, or if you would be interested in playing it, or if you've already played it. I'd love to hear how it went for you, as always. Thanks again for playing along and stopping by. I will see you guys Saturday night with the Sci-Fi Shadow Chat. I've got a really interesting topic, or at least I think so, and I will see you guys there. And until next time, folks, happy trails.